Bitcoin just hit 68K. Is this time going to be different? Are we going to get some kind of short squeeze? I got a little bit of data that might tell us this time could be different. Maybe we are going to get that squeeze we are looking for. So we got lots going on here today. The altcoins, super choppy. Dominance is pumping. But guys, I've got so many setups for you. Stuff is going down today. Let's get right into this. And remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. And I was begging Ray to come out with the rainbows, but he's not feeling very rainbowy today, Ray. I think that's a penalty. That's got to be a penalty. Banter bubbles are a very mixed bag. Altcoins, not great. To be honest, lots of chop, especially the high leverage stuff. I'm feeling the heat in that ByBit competition at the moment with all the current chop and all these things. But BTC, that stuff is cooking. That stuff is flying for us at the moment. So look at this. ENA. I'm talking about ENA today. That's minus 10% at the moment. Doge. Got a Doge set up for you guys. That thing is 11% at the moment that we are watching. So that is cooking. Litecoin, you can see in the middle, all the old dusties coming alive again. A little bit of news floating around on Litecoin. And nothing much else to report other than a little bit of a mixed bag here. So let's take a look at what they're hitting us with right now on the 4 hour. So this is BTC on the 4 hour. I've cleaned up this chart for you guys as best as I can. So just to go through where we are at the moment, we've broken those September highs. That was a lovely little move. And this automatically becomes our first level of support that we can start working with on any pullbacks. Look at this. I've got beautiful tie in here with the 236 fib as well. So hot zone number one for me. Any pullbacks here for BTC, 66,200. That looks like a beautiful little zone that we could get some kind of bounce on if we do get a little pullback there. Then to the upside, things are getting very interesting. I've got this big band over here. I'm going to talk to you guys through that on the daily chart in a couple of minutes here. But 69 to 70K, that is now a hot zone for us. But what happens when we start poking that region? Are things going to get a little bit spicy later on if they do send it higher? Well, I mean, it remains to be seen, but we're going to talk through a little strategy there as well later on. So right now, to the downside, 66,200. If they go hardcore on us, okay, and they really come and start smashing us, 64,800 is your next line of support in the next, say, 24 hours. Hopefully they don't get much uglier than that if they are going to send it down. But that is effectively what we are watching. And remember the rules here. We've got our fun line. As long as this fun line is riding up, we are happy, especially the Bitcoin traders. Altcoin traders right now, not so much. We're getting chopped around. If we start losing this trend, okay, then things start turning a little bit bearish again, and then we got to deal with that, okay? And we're going to deal with the fallout, the nuclear fallout on the altcoins that aren't performing very well at the moment. If Bitcoin starts rolling over, then things do get a little bit spicy for us. So lots to keep your eyes on while these things are ticking over. Now, let's see, just a little bit of stuff in the news. Now, I mean, we're not speculating too much as to what is going on here, but Tesla is shifting their BTC around. Now, I don't like to think it's for selling. There are rumors that they're using it to finance BTC, maybe raise some funds using their BTC. So I don't think it's to sell it, but they've shifted $760 million around. So if they are borrowing against it and things like that, well, it's a substantial amount that they can obviously borrow using their BTC. So let's see how that plays out. I don't think it's for these guys to sell. And then October, isn't this beautiful? We are back on track. So after a miserable first 2 weeks of October, things have now kicked off with BTC. Look at this. We are 6% up, and we are now exactly according to schedule as to what was supposed to happen every other time that we've had a green September. Now we're getting our green October. And we were saying it was written in the stars here. Things were still on track. It was a long month, and we needed to get through that original dump. Remember, we had a super pump in September when things were supposed to be falling over, and then we naturally had the sell-off into early October when everyone was expecting Uptober. Okay, so now things have settled, and BTC is basically doing what it needs to do. And if anybody follows poly markets and the US elections, we obviously understand that a Trump victory could potentially be quite bullish for the crypto market, and things are looking decent on the Trump side, whether you're a Trump fan or not. If you got bags, I suspect your bags are going to pump harder if there is going to be a Trump victory. So he's now 18% up on poly markets. So that is looking a little bit better there for us from that front. And then some more bull news here. Japan's upcoming stimulus package you concur? Do you concur? The upcoming stimulus package will be bigger than last year's. Now remember, China's doing the stimulus. It's happening all over the place. We got rates dropping. Things are teeing up from a macro perspective here for stock markets, for crypto, for everything. Things are just starting to look loads better. Never mind the housing market as well. I mean, the interest rates coming down. That's generally good for housing markets. And the S&P, well, cracking on. This is the S&P on the daily. We had a little bit of a sell-off yesterday, a little bit of a red day on the S&P, but so far so good. We are holding 5,800. That is our key support that we're going to be watching now going forward, and that is just ticking over for me. So here is my prime XBT long on the S&P 500, and things are doing their thing. It's still green, and my exit plan is still the same. If we start losing the 5,738 zone, that is where I'm going to be jumping out of the S&P, because I'm naturally watching this horizontal band as well. I would like to see that hold for us. Now, Ray, who doesn't like injective? What was that comment there? I mean, these altcoins, guys. I mean, I've been feeling the chop today. So remember the secrets here. The best entries are the ones that we get on those massive dumps, on the big sell-offs. If you are chasing afterwards in choppy conditions where you're trying to trade breakouts, you're trying to take short-term moves and stuff, you most of the time are going to get chopped out when these conditions are like this. And I'm actually feeling it today personally on this WSOT, just trying to get something going. I've been playing with Rune, I've been playing with AVAX, a couple of other tokens, and it's just up, down, chop all over the place. And at the end of the day, it just eats little stop losses and things. So it brings me back to my point, as always. The best entries are the ones that we grab at those absolute lows when we hit those mega zones. Then we can start building those types of positions. So just be patient, okay? The alts run, it is going to come back. It is going to come back. So just hang in there. Okay, so BTC we've dealt with. Let's talk about this potential short squeeze. Now, the best thing we can do here is look at BTC on the weekly. And wow, this thing looks very interesting. So the bad news, okay, the bad news for everybody here is if this channel remains the same, okay, if we say we're playing this channel exactly as it is, our downside target here is 50K. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, okay, and we're looking at all the, the bullish conditions leading into the end of the year, do I think we're going to see 50K? Well, it's still on the table, okay? It is still on the table. We cannot take it off right now. But what am I suggesting here? You can see what is going on. This is our weekly. We know we've got tons of shorters up here. We've got tons of shorters up here. We've got tons of shorters up there, okay? So we know we got so many stop losses on these types of areas, these types of things, and leading back from March, okay? So everybody was smart from shorting back in March. I suspect if we get some kind of bullish push here now on BTC, these guys are going to start capitulating over here. Then these boys are going to be next. And then finally, these guys. So I'm looking for some type of squeeze here. If we do get a hard bullish push here, we could get a super squeeze and get some big numbers out of BTC. We might see all-time high pretty quickly. And I've got a little tweet to back this theory up for you guys as well at the moment. This is James van Straten, and he says Bitcoin open interest on CME just hit an all-time high in a 5-day trading period. This was the third largest increase. The other two times were June 23 and October 23. They were front-running ETFs, and it was BlackRock filing. Both times Bitcoin gapped higher. Okay, expecting the same new all-time highs coming. This is what he was saying earlier today. Let's see if the pressure comes. Maybe we start getting this big push here in the market. So that is something to look forward to. And then just with regards to liquidations and things like that, you can see upside, we've got juicy zones here up to 69K, even a little band here at about 69.6. And then to the downside, this is where we have problems. Okay, there's big problems here. Down to 65K. Okay, 65K is a big danger zone here for us. Let's take a look. That would take us down to a wick just below that trends, guys. So just remember, that is still potentially on the table for us. We are not completely out of the woods. Now, my trade is still running. This thing is still going strong. And yeah, no changes yet to this thing. If we get a squeeze, naturally, I think I'm going to be TPing a little bit there at the top. But this high conviction trade, the entry was 62K. Still letting this thing run. My stop hasn't changed, and we're pretty much at entry. So let's see if this thing can blow through for us and do its job. I mean, that is really what we need out of BTC. Okay, so let's talk dominance. If you're trading altcoins, this is why you are feeling pressure. Look at this disgusting dominance chart here. This is hurting these altcoins. You've seen it now. The altcoins are chopping up, down, up, down, up, down, flush outs up, flush outs down. It's an absolute mess. BTC grinding higher. And you can see this dominance, it just keeps on pushing higher. So what am I expecting now for the altcoins? Where do we get some kind of alt move here where we can actually do something with these alts and start making a little bit of money? 60.4%. That is your big zone. This is your big weekly level here that we're watching on dominance. So we want to get a dominance push into that region. Well, not necessarily. We don't want to get it in there, but if dominance continues climbing, that is the zone where I'm looking for a rejection. That is the zone where I'm looking for these alts to start unleashing themselves. Now, remember, just because dominance is pumping when BTC is pushing up now and the alts are chopping, that's all very nice. But if dominance starts lifting now and BTC rejects and we start going to 65K, 64K, fuck me. These alts are going to feel some pressure. That dominance is going to go up. When that dominance hits that 60% band that I'm talking about, that is most likely where you're going to get your real alts bounce, where we can really get some banger entries. So guys, again, exercise caution here. I'm showing you setups today. Make sure you are practicing extreme risk management in these conditions. Anything can still happen. So I'm going to give you guys lots of setups, lower time frame, bigger time frame as well. Just make sure you are protecting yourselves with stop losses in smart areas as well. You don't want to get unnecessarily just taken out for no reason. Okay, so dominance is covered. Total 3, we know what this is. This is the altcoins excluding BTC and ETH. No changes here. Trend break, retest, looking okay. We want to crack the 200-day MA naturally. We just got to give it a little bit of a push. Adam, what's going on? Does Adam Pickle like the deep V-neck recovery, or what's the story here? Okay, let's go. Let's go with ETH. So yeah, ETH, you can see the drill. Okay, trend resistance, but still looking bullish on the shorter time frame here. On the daily, you can see we've got a little bit of a structure here. So anything for me on ETH 2,500 looks pretty nice. Down to 2,455, I would expect ETH at 2,455. That's most likely where you get that dominance rejection at that 60% mark. That's where we get alt pain, and then we get some kind of bounce. So remember, guys, remember the trick here. If you're trading spot, things like that, limit orders on big zones like that. The 618, the 382 on these big pools, these can really do you well if the market does start falling over. Now, let's talk Sol. Lots of games here today with Sol, and we saw it. I was using the easy algo daily pivots on Sol today and Rune. And, generally we had very tight pivots on the daily and on Rune and Sol, and just lots of chop around these pivots. And it's really what is going on with these altcoins at the moment. BTC is definitely running the show. So just to recap here on Solana, I was telling the Sniper Club guys earlier today on our live session, there's an area where I'm interested in adding to my current Sol position. My current Sol position entry is 132. So it's somewhere in that type of zone. When we get a confirmed break here on Sol, that retest is where I'm looking to add on Solana. If we do start pushing higher, if we do start pulling back, I'm going to be looking to add on Sol at about 145. So if we do get a hard dip, 145 for me is where I'm going to add onto that position. That's going to bring my average entry up, most likely to around 140. But then we're banking on the bulls holding things up for us. So if you are trading Sol at the moment, 150 is big support. Number one, you saw we hit that yesterday. The next one, 144. 144, 145. Those are your big downside supports for Sol. Upside 160 to 164. That is all you need to know right now. When we blow that 164, we're going to use that as support later on. Then there's going to be a whole ton of fresh trades for us for Sol, and we're going to take that thing to 190, 200, those types of things. Let's just survive the current chop. Let's just not rinse ourselves here in this opportune moment with BTC near all-time highs. Let's just make sure we keep things straight and legit. Now, this is me in the comp. I'm getting absolutely smashed around here. My P&L yesterday was like 300%. I'm now 200%. I've hit tons of little stops, getting chop. It's been absolutely messy. So, guys, I just want to repeat here.
Okay. Hold on.
Yes. Rainbow Ray is back.
We don't need you to be smashed. We need the likes to be smashed, please.
Please don't smash me. Smash the likes for Rainbow Ray. He's back. Rainbow Ray is back. He couldn't resist. Okay, so here is my absolute mess at the moment. This is my WSOT. You can see I'm getting absolutely rinsed here at the moment. Now we're trading lots of small positions, and it feels like still we are chasing, and it's not a great condition to be in at the moment. So you can see I've started a little Brett position. I'm going to show you the Brett chart because I believe that there's been a lot of volume and things going on base at the moment, and Brett's on base. Maybe there is a Brett situation coming for you guys. So I've got a big time frame breadth set up for you guys. I've also got a lower time frame breadth set up for you guys as well. And look, I mean, if you can see, I'm getting chopped up here. This 𝗏𝗚𝗅 is absolutely rinsing me, Ray. This 𝗏𝗚𝗅 was a shocker. And it's basically, it's wrecking me here. You can see it's eating into all my P&L on that competition. So that is what it is. Now, let's talk about a couple of trades that we've got going on. So first one I've got for you guys here is AVAX. Okay, this one is looking interesting from a couple of perspectives. Now, we've been trying to trade AVAX today, and we were looking at a little bounce earlier. We had a bounce off the anchored VWAP, nice little region here. We had a little pivot zone, things like that. Nice little bounce. Okay, it was cute. Okay, but they haven't delivered now. And now AVAX is starting to fall over. And this starts bringing me back to where we start zooming out and saying, where can we actually go on AVAX? If we take our fibs from the lows to the highs here, we can see we've got a juicy 618 coming for AVAX at 26.8. So if there is a little bit more pressure here in the market, this is the first type of region I would look for AVAX. Then a little bit lower down, 26. So these are the two hot zones for me that I'm watching on AVAX at the moment. If we are going to get a little dip in the market, that is where you can start looking. That is where you can start sniffing around and keeping things super simple here. We've got a rising trend in play, and hopefully that trend is going to hold for us at around about 26. So watch that region closely if we do get some kind of dip here in the market as we go. Okay, let's go. REEF, I don't know if anybody knows what the fuck just happened to REEF. I'm going to show you this REEF chart at the moment. And this REEF price further plunged 58% today, wiping out a month's worth of gains. 3 wallets appear to have panic sold 866 million. That's $2 million worth on HTX, KuCoin, and Gate in the past 2 hours. I don't know how you panic sell that, okay? I mean, this just stinks. This whole thing just stinks.
They're definitely not living in the land of the rainbow.
It smells. It smells, okay? So, so, I mean, you guys were asking me in the chats to talk about REEF, a bit over the last couple of weeks because, I mean, it's been showing strength. But look at this absolute dog shit. Look what they've done here. I mean, this is absolutely insane what is going on here. So REEF traders, I don't have much to say at the moment, but it looks like it's on track to go to zero. Okay, so if you want to be an absolute psycho, and I really don't recommend this, okay, you are pushing on the 200-day moving average. You are pushing on a daily level at the moment, but really, we don't know what is going on here with REEF. Okay, so obviously there's guys loading up tons of shorts, all these types of things. We know we're going to get a sharp bounce at some point. I can't tell you where it's going to be. All I can point out to you guys is 200-day MA, lots of liquidity here, this type of level in that type of region could offer something, but guys, I'm not trading this, okay? I'm just showing you because it's topical, and this is pretty offensive as to what is going on here with REEF. So if we take a look from the highs to the lows, 82% in a couple of days. How's that going? Yes, that's right. That is a rough one. Okay. Miles talking about mind share again, and he's saying AI and memes continue to command the most mind share over the past 7 days, followed by DeFi and GameFi. Okay, so again, AI and memes, no new surprises here, but what I have noticed is the AI tokens are actually pretty shitty at the moment, and I've got out a few AI tokens for you today to look at, and then I've got a couple of meme coins as well, and then I've got lots going on here. I've even got a Halloween meme coin that DJ and Dave and I are looking at the moment. So JMO, what's JMO talking about here? Topical like rash cream. Well, what's he talking about? Okay, so Fetch AI. Now I haven't discussed this one in a very long time. Okay, so this is Fetch, and I've put this one together for you. And if you take a look at this chart, funny money, REEF was rude, bro. REEF was disgusting. It's so offensive. Crypto is so hectic sometimes. My God. So, okay, let's talk about Fetch. Fetch on the daily. What do? We zoom out. We try and analyze what is actually going on at the moment. We can see Fetch on the daily, clear downtrend in play for us, okay? So not looking good from that perspective. Where's our main support? It's got to be around 1.3. So Fetch traders, if you're interested in this type of thing here, 1.3, I've got backup on the 100-day moving average as well. This thing just looks like it wants to come down to that type of region on the daily chart, okay? Once we lose that trend, another story, guys. We are going to absolute hell after that. But right now, what we want to do is hold 1.3 on Fetch. Let's see if that's going to play out. That is Fetch now on the daily. Upside targets, well, we don't have to talk about upside targets just yet because it's looking a little bit bearish. But if it does bounce at the moment, you're most likely looking at 1.76. So that could give us something along these lines, one of these squeezy type situations. And maybe that can play out for us over the next 2 or 3 weeks into elections, all these types of things. Okay, remember, 20 days to go into the elections. We could have some proper fireworks here at some place. So keep an eye on Fetch. Okay, it is topical and AI is going to start running again. So that is one of them that we're going to watch. Then we dial in and we say, okay, Fetch traders, here we are, you degens on the 1 hour. If you guys are looking for a little bit of action, I mapped this one out for you guys earlier today. And right now we've already hit that first support zone. So Fetch traders, it's a little tricky one to the downside. So you can see what I've done here for you. We've got a clear reaction here. Anchored VWAPs, we've got our 382 in play at 1.4. You can see this is an interesting zone. We've been reacting on it for a while. Okay, what I wanted to see here on Fetch earlier today, I wasn't expecting this to happen now, was a little liquidity hunt there and then a little send higher. Okay, so right now, if you're interested in a short-term situation, now this is high-risk stuff because you've seen dominance, you've seen Bitcoin, you've seen these altcoins, they are chopping us up all day long, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see the amount of chop in this Fetch chart. Okay, so if you want to dance and you want to play this type of game right now with these altcoins and maybe get chopped up a little bit and yeah, just get your medicine, these are the levels. Okay, 1.41, you can use that as your first line of support. Then we do have an interesting zone a little bit lower down, but we don't have tons of confluence on this one. So the first one is the 50-day MA tied in with these horizontals. That's 1.38. You can look for a reaction there. You can look for a bounce in that area. And then a little bit lower, we've got our 618 at 1.36. So these are your most reasonable reaction areas that I can give you on the 1 hour on Fetch. Now, this is for the absolute degens. Remember, at some point, you're going to see a situation like this. That trend is going to start pulling lower. And at some point, we're going to either push up, then we're going to hit one of these things. One of these could be the trigger that breaks that trend. And then you've got a real trade that you can start adding to and really starting to grow that position aggressively. So sometimes we just have to be patient. You can see we are in a downtrend now on the 1 hour as well. And look for these little zones. See if you can sniff around these areas. One of them could be the bottom. One of them could be the trigger for you for a much bigger move. Now, remember, each time you hit one of these areas, there are small gains to be made. If you are looking for positions, for example, if you hit that 618, there is about a 4%er that could play out for you before the next rejection. So just play these things carefully, but you can see the basic idea here as to what I'm looking at. So it's 1.41, it's 1.38, and it's 1.36. Okay, those are your main reaction zones for the degens. And then let's talk some 𝗬𝗨. And I got stopped on that 𝗬𝗨 trade that I took yesterday. We had a cute little bounce. You can see these candles. Look at that thing. Nice little bounce that they gave us there, but then a solid rejection. So we bounced up nicely and then a hard rejection. And now, unfortunately, 𝗬𝗨 traders, this is 𝗬𝗨 on the 12 hour. This thing is now looking a little bit bearish for us at the moment. So first reasonable zone for me, 552, and then I've got a banger zone here, 505. So right now, this thing is teeing up like we are going to get some dump on the altcoins. And if 𝗬𝗨 is any indication for us, this could be the chart that tells us where the dump might potentially end and, or, well, where it might continue. So 505, I would say watch that. I would say 550, we get some kind of bounce there. 505, that could be quite a strong one there for us. I've got an anchored VWAP here. I've got the horizontals. I've got a little trend as well in play here for you guys. So watch 505. Then we do have that the wick lows that you can watch. Look out for a little hunt down there at 470. But you can see this thing is turning bearish now, looking to head a little bit lower. So 𝗬𝗨 traders, maybe it's not our time just yet for 𝗬𝗨. Let this thing play out a little bit. At some point, you will see this trend start forming again, just like I've shown you on Fetch, but this is now on the 12 hour. Let this thing play out a little bit. So loss of trend, remember what that means. If you're a breakout trader, turn this thing over. Look at that. There's our little break. Okay, there's our little trend break. What do we look for? We look for a pump into a horizontal, bang, like that, retest, bang, and then send again. So pretty simple game. Who's AP? Who's buying XRP? No, bro. Come on. Please don't swear on my show. This is a family show. We can't say XRP here. Ray, is he trading XRP?
He should just come to the land of the rainbow.
Rainbow
The
Ray.
land of the rainbow will save you.
Rainbow Ray. And Spizzlet says, what about Aptos? Guys, Aptos is like ruining my competition account at the moment. It's actually rinsing me. I'm very frustrated with Aptos. There, Goodco's saying the same thing. No, it's absolute dog shit at the moment. Aptos, absolute dog shit. Okay, let's go AI. So we partnered with AI, as you guys know. I've been talking about this on and off for the last couple of months. Now, remember, they launched their mainnet, their marketplace not too long ago, and to great fanfare. Now, just a reminder what AITECH is. You can follow them on Twitter as well, but they're the fastest AI marketplace in Web3, your gateway to powerful AI application services and solutions designed for everybody. So they're quite a big operation. Yeah, you can see they got 455,000 followers. They are a serious business, and they wanted to tease a little announcement today, and I've got it, but I don't have the official announcement, but they said they've announced a new token utility to be revealed this week. So this is news coming out, marking a major milestone for the ecosystem. The partnership with a prominent network unlocks access to 50,000 on-chain and off-chain users per month, driving exponential adoption of the AI token. Okay, so that is quite interesting as to what is going on. And so AITECH, we've been following this chart for the last few months, and we can see what's going on. This is AITECH on the 3-day that I'm watching. We formed a nice little support base here for us, and that's a solid base. Now, if there's good news coming out, if this thing starts making money, if people start getting interested, you know what happens to these things. Okay, they start speculating how much money they're going to make, then the people start buying up tokens and stuff like that. So all I can say for you guys on AITECH, you've got big support here on the 3-day, 0.07. That is a nice support band. Where do I think AITECH can go? Well, there's a couple of simple fib targets that you can bang out. First one, I'd say look at the 200-day MA. That's 14. Next one, look at 23. Next one, look at 33. Those are your big upside zones here. You can see there has been some pumpage before, and here we go. So it seems to have formed some kind of base. I would expect in a super bull market and things like that, this thing starts churning higher at some point. What I would suggest, watch your main support. That's 0.7. If you start losing 0.7, you start losing that area, then there's a problem. Okay, then there's something wrong. Okay, so watch that support holds. If the market stays okay, then this thing should start moving a little bit higher. Now, Bitcoin's super bullish, so it could be a thing. Now, guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at the Lord of Entry. I'm dropping tons of stuff for you guys, okay? Trade setups, I'm dropping fundamentals, I'm dropping, show me your favorite meme coin things as well on Twitter. So follow me at the Lord of Entry. And I've taken this BONK trade that I showed you guys on Twitter today. There's BONK and there's Silly. Okay, so there's two trades we can talk about. BONK I took on Bitfunded, and you can see this thing is now cruising. I've got two BONK positions at the moment. Yesterday, you might have noticed on my show, I had a preset order for BONK. It's it was 00218. Okay, I showed you guys that chart, and at the time, it hadn't hit the buy yet. In the dead of the night, it hit the buy, and it picked that up at 00218. Then I added a little bit this morning in that zone as well. And right now, this thing is grinding higher. So I'm going to take you through that BONK trade. Just a reminder, guys, Bitfunded, very simple process here. You give them $79 or $100 or even more if you want a bigger account. They give you a $5,000 or $10,000 account. You show them 8% return in phase 1. 5% return phase 2, then they give you real money that you trade with. You keep 80 to 90% of the profit. So right now, I'm trying to tackle a $50,000 funded account at the moment. So I've started this current situation, and you can see the BONK trade is starting to move now for us. So let's just get this thing pushing a little bit higher so we can smash the first phase, and then we can move on to phase 2. Okay, so let's talk about this banger. And I think this has been an absolute lagger for us here, BONK. I have spoken about this on the show a couple of times. I did put it on Twitter today for you guys too. So there's a couple of factors that we need to weigh in here. How big is the Bitcoin dump going to be if it does dump? How badly are these altcoins going to get hurt? Okay, we need to understand that. That is why the first thing we do is zoom in on the daily. So I've got spot bags of BONK, and I'm also running a leverage trade on BONK as well. And I'm naturally looking for higher, but I do have risk management in place and stop losses and things like that. And the first area I want to show you guys of support for me on BONK. If we are looking at some kind of pullback on the market, I would say look anything down to multiple zeros to 0.5. So spot traders and margin traders, anything down to that zone, nothing to sweat about. Okay, no stress there. We are looking for a bigger move up on BONK. If we do get an opportunity that this thing starts bleeding lower, you're looking at accumulating a position here on a couple of these zones, 22, 21. Those are nice little zones for you looking for a longer term play here. So if we do get a pullback, we could get a little situation like this, dip lower, then we get some kind of bullish push higher. It all depends on how dominance is going to play out for us as well. So BONK, there's a bigger picture play here for you guys, and the target is 33, which I'm watching. That's the absolute target. Now along the way, there's naturally going to be tons of things in the way. For example, there. And for example, over here at 25 and 30. But the ultimate target I would expect is going to be around about 33. So spot trade, this is an absolute joy. A leverage trade, you might find yourself in a bit of chop. It could get very messy along the way. So just make sure you are managing your risk appropriately, and if depending on how you are trading this. So exit plan 205. Okay, if we start losing that, closing under that, that is the worst case scenario. Then there is an exit plan for you under 219 if you want to blow it out there, and 21. These are all potential exit zones for you, but the safest one is 205. That's the most reasonable one. You're giving yourself room to breathe there as well if this does start falling over. So just to recap, here is BONK on the 1 hour for you guys. And just one of my typical DGen setups that started playing out for BONK. And, nothing special here. 618 horizontals, anchored VWAP coming into play, and a rising trend. There was enough levels of confluence for us to tell us that we might get a reaction in that zone. It doesn't work every single time, but it's enough to tell us maybe, there's going to be a little reversal when it hits those types of areas. So we can play those areas until they don't work anymore. Then you can play on the next one and things like that. So BONK, very simple little entry there. Right now, bigger picture, if you've zoomed out, you can see this is our 200-day moving average. So this was a big one for me. We really want to start holding above that type of region. So I would say leverage traders, what you're looking at here, you don't really want to lose 2273. Okay, we kind of want to hold that. If we dip into that zone, we really want to see that region hold, maybe a little wick underneath that 2273. So I would say keep your eyes on that level. It's a little bit too tight to say the 200-day MA is going to act as support at the moment, but I would say 2273, watch that area there for some kind of pullback, and then a little bit lower, then we are back at entry. Okay, if we are back at entry, then maybe, things are turning a little bit bearish, and then we're zooming out and we're saying, okay, this bigger picture is now in play for us on BONK. So remember, always have your lower time frame trade and your higher time frame picture, have them next to each other so you get the context of where you are, and then you can dial in on your DGen vibes and misbehave and do all those types of things. So those are your key levels you want to watch there on BONK. Now to the downside for the leverage traders. Now let's talk about this ridiculous thing. Okay, this is now a potential Halloween trade. Okay, now DGen David brought this to my attention. I actually mentioned that on Twitter today. You can see, you can follow him. David sends it. Okay, he's my secret weapon there in Sniper Club. So at David sends it, and he's also dropping tons of alpha and charts and things like that. And he told me about this silly chart this morning that he was looking at. And I must agree. Okay, nice little zone here. So what I did, I pulled a big fib from the absolute lows on the daily chart to the highs. You can see we're getting a reaction in this area. There is some confluence here with certain levels, and you can see it's acting appropriately at the moment off a 618. So it's interesting. Okay, I've started a small silly position, and it might be silly because it might actually end my WSOT tournament account because I'm looking for upside here, and if they dump me, well, it's going to hurt. So just to sum this up, it's a meme coin based on Halloween. I think it had something to do with the founder of Soul, something along those lines, and it just might be a play with Halloween around the corner, something to look at. So bigger picture support 0.0152 is what you want to be watching, and then smaller time frames, there's two setups here for you guys. Now there's one, if it fails, there's a level lower for you, or there's a whole zone. Okay, it depends how crazy you are and how you want to play this thing. So you can see I've zoomed in here on the 1 hour for you on Silly, and you can see we're holding the 100-day moving average support at the moment. We're generating a support band, and you can see that 618 fib pool that I showed you is also holding the zone for now. Okay, so this is your main support here, 1525, that type of region, 1525, looking for this one to hold. If this thing starts failing, this is most likely your next long potential zone. So you need to decide how you want to play that. You need to decide if you can stomach the risk. So for me right now, it's a simple game plan. The risk is about 5%, give or take, from where we are at the moment. And the upside, not looking for that much. We're looking at 13%. We're looking at 20%. and we're looking at 38. Okay, that's the extreme. But for me, you know, even if we can get to this 14% move here, let's just highlight this target for you guys there, bang. That would be quite a nice little move on something like this. So I'm in this thing on the WSOT. Hopefully it doesn't wreck my account. Hopefully it pumps my account. And that is your support base. If you want to accumulate a position, but then you're making an assumption that this thing is going to bounce, okay, then you're making proper assumptions here. Then your risk is about 13%, give or take. So remember, this is a big buy zone over here. This is a big reaction zone here for me. And we also have that wick to be worried about if we do dip lower. So your lower level that you can watch, 1429, and then 1349. These are your hot zones. Okay, so right now for me, if we start losing that, I'm jumping out. Okay, I'm not going to sit in and bleed out my WSOT account and watch this thing rinse me, basically sending me to zero. So I'm going to exit if we start losing some of those lows. Let's see if we get a little bit of a push here on the silly. And what you can also do, if you want to make it even safer for yourself, you can zone in and you can really zoom in here. You can start looking at 15 minutes. And you want to start looking at potential breaks of horizontals and things like that. So what you can do here, bang out your horizontals. You want to find a nice thick horizontal band. Remember, if we blow through horizontals, there's a chance that they can use that as support when you come back and retest it. So you might get a situation like that, where you get some kind of support and then they send this one higher. So, 𝗦𝗚𝗦𝗓𝗕, we psycho. Guys, just behave yourselves, okay? Just behave yourselves. I hope you guys know. I'm giving you these setups, but you guys need to practice risk management. You need to do all these things. If you want to know more about it, come join us in Sniper Club, okay? We got tons of traders in there and we'll all help you guys. Okay, if you want to learn about this stuff and if you're interested in what we're doing. Okay, so silly, that is like a lower time frame play here. You can let it break, then you can try and buy the retest. Now you can see we already had one failed break and retest today. Look at that, bang, absolute rinsage here today. So just be careful. Lots of chop in the market at the moment that you guys need to be aware of and pay attention to. Okay, so play that one safe, high risk, small cap. Yeah, really high risk play, proper high risk play. Okay. Let's talk about some other things going on in the market at the moment. DeFi 3.0 flipped meme coins at narrative relative strength metrics by DUR crypto app. Okay, coins to watch out in DeFi 3 narrative. Now, you guys have heard ENA, you guys have heard of Aero, and well, I haven't done for you today. So I've got ENA and Aero for you guys today. They are interesting to me. And let's talk about the first one here. And this is Aerodrome Finance, okay? Slipstream all-time high, 24-hour fees. Yesterday saw the single highest day of Slipstream fees totaling 420K. Second highest volume day at 630 million. Aerodrome is the liquidity hub of Base. So things are going on at Base again. There seems to be a little bit of action there and more than 1 billion of volume on Base yesterday. Okay, so that naturally brings us to, let's look at Aerodrome. Maybe let's look at Brett as well. Okay, so let's start with Aerodrome. And this one, I mean, this was just absolutely amazing. When I started charting this today, I can never stop getting surprised. I almost get shocked every time it happens, and I don't know why. But the minute I pulled this fib, I mean, look at this absolute accuracy, the way that 618 came into play there. That 618 rejection on Aerodrome. Okay, now remember, these fibs work to the highs, they work to the lows, they do all these types of things. And the bigger the fib pool, the stronger it is. So very strong rejection here on Aerodrome, 1.61. But what we can see, what is bullish about this thing? This current situation. This is the daily. Look at this here. This is previous resistance. Now we have blown through. Okay, so the bulls are saying, oh, okay, let's look at a hot support zone here. And for me, 1.25, that's got confluence with a 618 fib. It's got confluence with tons of daily as well. That will be a weekly resistance band for you as well. So I would say if you're bullish on Aerodrome, give it a little bit of time, let it come down. 1.25 could be an absolute banger play for you guys. So if you do get that buy in that region, you are looking to move back up to those wicks. It's going to be about another 30% push higher. And in a super bullish market, yes, we'll go higher, but we'll deal with that on another day. Right now, let's try and get an entry on this thing. So 1.24 is what you're going to be watching. And then you want to look at potential exit zones. Okay, if things don't go your way and the market starts falling over, where can you cut this type of position. So 1.11 is your first one, and then your next one is 0.968. Now, these are your most reasonable areas. This is for spot and very low leverage type setups and situations. So remember, if you're trading high leverage, you can get absolutely rinsed if you try and use a stop that big. So I'm giving you a perspective on a daily chart and things like that. So watch that area. Could be a nice spot play if the market turns nice and bullish for you guys at the moment. So watch 1.24. That is something you want to keep your eyes on. Now, let's see if I'm getting rinsed on this ENA. And I've had a go on ENA. You can see I'm trading on WeX at the moment with these guys. And I've got ENA and Ondo still running at the moment in WeX. And ENA, I started a small position there. I'm going to take you through this one and in a second. And then Ondo, well, no changes there. Hopefully, they're not going to come and end me on that current thing. So now, before we jump into WeX, I just want to remind you guys, and I forgot to tell you last week, there's really an amazing offer here for the link in my description. Okay, now read what they say. Okay, all users who sign up through Dylan's referral link, 100 users, okay? If you've deposited $100 and you've traded a future volume of $10,000, now that's very easy to get to that futures volume, then 100 users will be selected to get $100 future bonus. There's 2 days left. Okay, there's no ways that we're going to get 100 signups here. So take advantage. You're going to literally get $100 from these guys. I mean, unless 120 of you sign up in the next 24 hours, there's 1 week. 2 days left. Okay, so there, fastest fingers first. 100 guys. That's what you're going to get. So just trade a little bit in WeX. Make sure you sign up with the link. They're going to send you $100 when you hit your $10,000 bonus. Okay, guys. So it's all there for you. And remember, in the show description, everything I talk about is here for you guys. Okay, it's all happening here in the show description. Take your pick as to what you want to look at there. And before I forget, look on the second from the top here. I'm jumping on a Gabby. I'm jumping on her stream directly after my show. We're going to talk altcoins and all sorts of things. She's from the lab of crypto. So there's a link for the show. Second from the top there, Gabby's stream. That's happening in... oh, God, it's happening now. I got to go. Okay, give me 2 minutes. I got more for you guys. This stream is starting in a couple of minutes. I've been digressing here. Okay, so ENA. Let's go ENA quickly. Okay, you can see what's going on here with ENA. Nice little rejection, as you can see. Now we are dropping into these horizontals here. And this is why it was an area of interest for me. So ENA traders, hot zone number 1 is where we are now, 385. Hot zone number 2, 335. Now, these are your bigger time frame things. If there's going to be a bounce, I'm expecting it on one of these two zones. Now, ENA traders, I've dialed in for you. This is why I've taken a small leverage position in this area. I suspect if the market holds a little bit, we could get a bounce in the zone. That is why I've opened that on WeX there. And what do I have? I've got a 382. I've got a rising trend. I've got an anchored VWAP in play for me. So my exit zone is if we close under that anchored VWAP 0.371, then I'm exiting ENA. Okay, I'll take my medicine, I'll take the abuse, and then they're probably going to send this one lower down to 33. So we're probably going to see something like that. So if it doesn't bounce now, you're talking about a couple of percent stop here in this region. You can start sniffing around, not a big size. It's got to be a small size. When there's momentum, you can add later on, but you can look around in that area for a possible reaction. If they fail, 3342 is where it's at for you. Okay, Doge, don't have time for Doge. I'll drop a Doge chart on Twitter for you guys. And remember, Ray drops all my charts in Sniper Club directly after the show. So you'll have access to all of this here. Just watch the show on 2x. I don't mind if you like me on 2x speed, just to get context before you start playing with the charts. Brett, same story. Lots of volume on base. We need Bitcoin to behave. This looks just like BONK. Okay, nice little support region here. 0.1. Watch this region over here. Little dip lower, 0.092. You can see bigger picture on the daily. It makes sense here. Okay, so a little bounce here maybe. Alternatively, looking for a bounce here, 0.092. Looking for that bigger play on Brett. This will be in Sniper Club for you guys as well. And watch that there on Brett. Yes. Okay, guys, I need to go. Join me on Gabby's stream. I'm jumping on there like literally now. Okay. Thanks for hanging. Ray, Rainbow Ray. Captain, see you later.
Dude, I managed to make profit. No liquidation.
Banger, banger.